likes having celebrated international meetings if you don't know what you want at the meeting, if you don't have a game plan. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
Not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001. And January 6th, 2021.
All right, let's start this by pointing out that Kamala Harris is not a smart person. Most of us understand that. Most of us get it. And it's for that reason and many other that you don't want Kamala Harris to be the next president of the United States, which is why beating Joe Biden is so important here and why so many people think it's so serious when we start talking about who the Republican nominee is going to be, who has the best chance of beating Joe Biden. Well, it should be pretty much anyone because Joe Biden is a complete and utter disaster, as you're seeing with his Vietnam trip. And there's a lot of clips here, but I got to share them with you. Here's Joe Biden saying it's Betty Bye time. Well, he's out visiting world leaders.
Anyway, I just think that there are other things on leaders' minds, and they respond to what's needed at the time. And look, nobody likes having celebrated international meetings if you don't know what you want at the meeting, if you don't have a game plan. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, me too, Mr. President. And as he choreographs that he's about to go to bed, and he continues taking some more questions, his staff says, that'll be enough.
We talked about at the conference overall. We talked about stability. We talked about making sure that the third world, the southern hemisphere had access to change it, had access. It wasn't confrontational at all. He came up to me and said,
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, the guy was still talking. He's the president of the United States. And they say, well, hold on one second. We'll just go ahead and stop this. And he goes right along with it. This guy's not in charge. The old folks' home that is the White House is a nursing facility. And it might be a hospice care, but it is bad shape. It's in bad shape. And Karine Jean-Pierre apparently can tell the president when to get off the stage. He can't make those decisions on his own. Might be a problem there. But, hey, he's the president, right? He's the one calling the shots. Right? Right. Oh, and by the way, he looks awesome. According to the folks in the media, as they view this, they think it's great. Let's go to The View and check out these geniuses.
So what do they need to focus on? They need to focus on the undeniable. Joe Biden is old, and that's a narrative that's been created to cause panic in people. And then, so what's the second part of
By the way, panic. Yeah, it's panic that our president is not able to do his job. Yes, there is a panic there, correct.
that narrative? Joe Biden is old, and Kamala Harris is unprepared.
I'm going to show you a bunch of clips later that show you that, yeah, Kamala Harris is unprepared. So, yeah, okay, I can't disagree with anything you're saying.
Now, go on with the rest of that, because you know there's another part to that.
Yeah, okay, Joe Biden is old, but he ain't dying anytime soon. I don't know if you guys saw him this weekend. He was at the G20. One moment I turned on the TV, he was in India. Then I turned on the TV, he was in Vietnam. Then I turned on the TV, he was giving a press conference. Yes. And then at the end of being up for like 24 hours, working in a completely different part of the world, he said, you know what, I got to go to bed. Well, Republicans were all pouncing on the fact that the man who'd been up for 38 hours I had to go to bed just watching him on TV.
That's not what Whoopi Goldberg was talking about. She was saying that Kamala Harris is black, and therefore you're saying she's unqualified because she's black. That's what she was getting at. And by the way, Joe Biden was on Air Force One where he has his own bed. So let's not pretend that this guy is driving all over Asia and having a rough travel schedule. Give me a break. This is an absolute pathetic defense of Joe Biden. But why? No, because they can't defend Kamala Harris either. And Kamala Harris is out there embarrassing herself as well. She sat down for an interview with, I believe it was ABC's Face the Nation. Pretty embarrassing stuff. We'll get there in a second. First, how about this embarrassing thing? Here's Kamala Harris getting down at the vice president's mansion. She'll let some of those illegals in, let them enjoy themselves. Here she is embarrassing herself dancing. I'm going to turn the music off so I don't get a copyright strike. But here you go. Look, here's Kamala Harris getting down. Yeah, there's no music here. But Kamala Harris, why are people like, don't film her? Well, she's out there having a good time, please. She's out there having a good time. It's just a little silly video. I guess it was the celebration of hip-hop at the vice president's mansion. Congratulations to them celebrating 50 years of hip-hop. Here's Kamala Harris actually embarrassing herself. Well, one of the many times Kamala Harris has embarrassed herself.
Not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory.
Wow, she must be talking about 9/11. It is the anniversary of 9/11. Maybe that's why I'm playing this clip. Oh, you'll find out.
December 7th, 1941. September 11th, 2001.
So she must not be talking about 9/11 because she's comparing something to 9/11. What could it possibly be? And by the way, Kamala Harris, unprepared, unliked, unlovable, unintelligent. Here we go. What is she comparing 9/11 and Pearl Harbor to?
And January 6th, 2021.
These people are beyond parody. You can't even make fun of them anymore. Okay, now to the actual clip. Face the Nation. It was CBS Face the Nation. Margaret Brennan here asking her. And by the way, I want you to listen to this question that's asked. Are you taking the threat of the Donald Trump presidency seriously? Like the threat of the Donald Trump presidency. Just keep that in mind. This is a reporter asking the question. We all know that Donald Trump's presidency is a threat. Are you going to do something about it? Total straight news question, right?
Are you taking the threat of a second Trump presidency seriously?
If you go back and you look at the face she's making, I kind of want to go back here. She's very serious. She's very serious here. This is a very serious question. I wonder what Kamala Harris is going to say in response.
Presidency seriously enough?
I don't understand the question.
That is my favorite Kamala Harris answer ever because it's the first honest thing she's ever said. She doesn't understand the question. You know why? Because she's an imbecile. That's why Kamala Harris does not understand the question. It's because she's stupid. Oh, okay. Well, good. Are you taking the threat of a Donald Trump presidency seriously? That's the question. Here's the actual answer.
You were dismissive of some of the Republican criticism of you and the president. When you look at current polling, the front runner for a Republican nomination is the former president, the 45th president.
We will win re-election. We will win re-election. There is too much at stake, and the American people know it.
That's not the only question Kamala Harris can't answer. She also can't answer questions about the border.
We are seeing progress, but we're not going to have a constant. There are going to be fluctuations. That is normal, just like the weather fluctuates and circumstances fluctuate, such as elections in those regions and what that might mean. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that we keep our foot off the gas. We have to stay focused and understand there has to be a long-term strategy as well as a short-term strategy.
I like that she mentioned climate change there. And she said that climate change fluctuates. The weather fluctuates. Okay, all right. It's an interesting choice. Also, the border is a disaster, and she's the border czar, and she knows it. No answer to that question either, just that it's not that big of a problem. Okay, it's one way to look at it. And lastly, let's listen to Kamala Harris and make a fool of herself on the issue of abortion. Give Margaret Brennan credit here for actually asking a hard question. This is actually a really hard question for Democrats. And Kamala Harris does a terrible job of answering it.
So what is it that you believe? I mean, what week of pregnancy should abortion access be cut off?
They are never asked this question, and it's a really good one. If it's not supposed to be 8 weeks or 13 weeks or 16 weeks or 22 weeks, when should it be cut off? They can't answer the question because if they say any time period before birth, then they're going to get crushed by their insane supporters. The Democratic Party and the media have basically said together that All abortion is good no matter when it is. When they're not saying, well, no one actually has abortions that late. Okay, good, then cut them off early. Or you should never tell a woman when she can't have an abortion. Okay, good, so you can do it up until birth. They can't answer the question. And Kamala Harris is making that pretty clear right here.
We need to restore the protections of Roe versus Wade.
Which
We're
was-
not trying to do something new.
Well, that was
But-
nebulous because it was about viability, which could be anywhere between 20 to 24 weeks. And so
No. Let me be very clear.
the Women's Health Protection Act that the
Let
White
me be,
House also
let me be
endorsed.
very clear. From day one, the president has been clear. I have been clear. We need to put back the protections that are in Roe v. Wade into law. Since the Supreme Court took it, Congress has the power and ability to pass legislation to put those protections back in law, and Joe Biden will sign that bill. So that is what we want.
But does it need to be specific in terms of defining and where that guarantee goes up to and where it does not, at which week of pregnancy?
We need to put back in place the protections of Roe versus Wade.
You
we
know
are
why
not,
I'm asking you
but
this
I-
question,
but
though, because
we're not trying to. But we're not trying to do anything that did not exist before June of last year.
She can't answer the question. She's afraid to answer the question, and the reporter knows it. I give her credit for dogging her here. I give her credit. Pound away.
We
Well,
are saying
it wasn't
but-
crafted into law. And that's why I'm asking you for the
But if-
specifics there,
if-
because Republicans say the lack of a precise date in cutting it off. You know this. They say that allows Democrats to perform abortions up until, birth.
I like how she says it dismissively. Perform abortions up until birth. Kamala Harris won't say right before birth, 2 weeks before birth. She won't say any of that stuff. She won't give a date. She won't give a time. And you know why. Because they want it up until birth. So your whole sarcastic thing is exactly
which
what
is
you're saying.
ridiculous.
Statistically not accurate.
And it's ridiculous.
I
And it's a
understand that.
mischaracterization
So-
of the point. No, the point
But-
is.
but
the
do you
point
need to
is
be
we
more
have to-
precise?
I am being precise.
You're not being precise. And the person interviewing you is making that clear. You're not being precise. You're a clown.
We need to put into law the protections of Roe versus Wade.
So what?
That's it. That's all they can say. They can't have an actual conversation about the issue because if they do, they'll lose. And they know it. And Kamala Harris is a perfect example of a modern Democrat. Cannot answer questions. The media is here trying to help her, and she won't let them help her. It's kind of hilarious if you think about it. But yes, back to the beginning of all of this. People are scared that Joe Biden is going to die. Not because Joe Biden's so great, but because Kamala Harris is so much worse. That's the fear. And Republicans need to understand. If Joe Biden wins, you're actually getting Kamala Harris. Just remember that. I mean, that's fine. Make the choice you want. When I'm in a primary election, I'm going to the booth. I ask, who is the best candidate that can win the general election? You have to think about it that way because it's going to be whoever the Republican candidate is against Kamala Harris. She won't be on the ballot, but that's the reality of the situation. And Republicans have to think like that because Kamala Harris is an unqualified dope.